And then I'm going to share my screen. All right. Well, thanks to everyone who's joined us. As I mentioned, if you do want to turn your camera on and wave and say hi, please go ahead. We do these. Oops, some people we removed. Oh, okay. Sorry. I just got a notification that someone might be removed from the call, so I'm just hoping that we don't lose people. So anyway, okay, we'll kick things off, and then anyone else who joins after, we'll just they'll just kind of catch up. So thank you all for joining. We do these workshops every single month. It's one of our Ollo metrics digital marketing workshops, and today we're going to be talking about Google Performance Max campaigns. So we titled this Google Performance Max 101. We're going to go through a bunch of different information around Performance Max campaigns, who they're for, how to use them, maybe some advanced optimization tips, and also some drawbacks. So for any of you that are running Performance Max campaigns, this is going to be a great kind of insight into how you can make them better. And for anyone that has not yet used them or is not yet using them with your Google Ads, then it's going to show you where this could fit into your overall strategy. So let me just get going here. So I'm Warren. I'll just introduce myself first. I am one of the co-founders and managing directors of a digital marketing agency called Ollo Metrics. We're based in Vancouver, BC, Canada, and we do this stuff for a lot of different clients across multiple industries. So we work with Google Ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, search engine optimization, but we really place a strong emphasis on analytics. And you're going to see how that work with analytics ties into Performance Max in making your campaigns more successful today. I also teach digital marketing. I actually see an old student of mine here, which is why I said hi. But I teach digital marketing at BrainStation and also Jelly Academy. In fact, I just taught a Google Ads class last night. So we really love doing this stuff and sharing this information with people as digital marketing is always changing quickly. So joining me today is going to be Pranav, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Thanks, Warren. Hello, everyone. My name is Pranav, and I work as a senior paid ad specialist. And at Ollo, I work at different ad platforms, as well as I take care of our conversion tracking. And today, I'm looking forward to speak more about Performance Max campaign with you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Pranav. So what are these workshops all about? We put this together as a marketing agency because we really wanted to help people understand what's working in digital marketing, the tools, the strategies, the techniques. Things are changing so quickly. It's kind of hard to stay up to date. So we figured, having a monthly workshop where we get together, we talk about different topics every single month, would give us a chance to really talk to the community of different marketers and business owners and helping them with digital marketing. So we keep these very learning focused. They're hands-on. Lots of times, we're not going to do it today, but we do breakout rooms where we get in and we do an exercise. Today, we're actually going to get a live demo from Pranav. And then we also want feedback. We want to, like I mentioned, we want to build a community. If you come to one of these, like we hosted one on Google Analytics 4 a couple months ago, well, it's a very high chance that there's going to be relevant topics for you in the future. So, for example, the next month we're going to be talking about SEO and how to beat your competitors in Google search. So, yeah, we do these every month. It's always a different topic. So definitely stay tuned, and you'll be part of our email list for receiving updates on those. So today we're going to talk about an intro to Performance Max. What is this campaign? What's it all about? Some of the prerequisites that you need to have in place before you start using a Performance Max campaign, some of the issues that people are running into, as well as the hierarchy. So how do you create and structure these campaigns? And then what controls you have and what ones you don't. So that's the big shift, I think, in mindset with Performance Max is you don't get to control as much as you used to with your typical search campaigns. We're also going to talk about optimization practices that you can put in place, even if you don't have the same controls as you used to be able to. With search campaigns, there's still a lot of things you can do to make your campaign successful. And Pranav is definitely an expert at that, so he's going to share his advice with us. and then we'll do a live demo on how to create a video asset in 5 minutes. So if you're a small team, maybe you're a business owner or you're a marketer that has one other person on your team, but you don't have a professional video production studio just on hand, then you can still create very effective videos with some tools that exist inside Google. And we're going to show you how to do that. So first things first, I just wanted to ask everyone in the chat. So I think the chat's you should see it in the bottom corner here. Just say hi. Put your name, where you're from, your company or organization. As we go through some of the topics today, if we can make some of those relevant to your specific industry, we definitely will. So it's always good to hear, if you're part of an e-commerce site or you're part of a lead generation or a SaaS company, it's always good to know that. And then when I'm talking about these things, I can make it specifically relevant for you. So in the chat function, definitely say hi. Hi, Catherine from Cyber Patient Vancouver. So SaaS company, that's great. So we'll have some SaaS examples for you here. And then, yeah, for anyone else, just say hi in the chat. And then we'll definitely make those relevant to you. So let's get started. And also thank you, Avik and Arindam. So Google Performance Max. So introduction to PMax for short. What is it? What is Performance Max? Well, I'll tell you why it exists first. So consumer behavior is changing at an accelerated pace. And for a couple examples here, and sorry, I've got to move my windows out of the way. These are just a couple examples, and there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of examples of large fluctuations in search behavior. So 80% year-over-year increase image searches for large yard landscaping ideas, 200% increase for best all-inclusive resorts. I know that COVID will definitely be spurring on some of these massive changes or post-COVID or post-lockdown kind of situation that we're in. But search behavior is changing very rapidly. So the old way of doing search ads and controlling all your bids and budgets just doesn't work like it used to. You'd have to be glued to your computer 24 hours a day, making optimizations, measuring, looking at search data. And so how do we overcome that as marketers, where we only have so many limited resources, usually working in a small team and asked to do so much? Well, if change is the challenge, then automation is the solution. So Performance Max campaigns really allow you to automate a lot of those really intricate tasks that used to take a lot of time. So they are the next generation of smart shopping and local campaigns. So if you are an e-commerce site, you used to run smart shopping campaigns, those are now replaced completely with Performance Max. Same thing for those local searches, like near me. If someone's searching for a business near me, and it's your type of business, this is going to be a great tool for you to start to optimize for those searches. These campaigns are goals-based and they are conversion-driven. So if you are, you're not trying to optimize necessarily for clicks. If you have a website, you want to get performance out of that website. You want to get people taking those actions that are important to your business, whether it's a purchase, a subscription, like the cyber patient. Maybe they're booking an appointment, or they're reaching out through a contact form. You get to measure those conversions, and then Google Performance Max campaigns will optimize for them. They're going to find the right behavior based on audience signals, and then they're going to attract the right traffic to your website to make those conversions more likely to happen. It also allows you to cross-network target. So I'm going to go through all the different networks that it covers here, but a single campaign doesn't just go on, say, the search network. It will go on YouTube. It will go on Google Display, Gmail, your Google Business Profile, Google Search, Discover on the Google app, and even Google Maps. So if you've looked in Google Maps and you saw your competitors' ads there, and you thought, well, how can we get there? Well, this is one way you can do it. And in fact, you can do it across all of these different platforms with a single campaign. So I think that's one of the big challenges as a marketer, is this fragmentation of media, right? So it used to be everyone used to just watch the same 10 TV channels, read the same couple newspapers. And so it was really easy to buy ads and you know where your marketing budget was going as a marketer. Now things have fragmented so much that we need to find a new way to really get our ads and leverage all of these different platforms to find our audience based on who they are and not necessarily where they're spending their time, because it's just too fragmented to be able to make those decisions without like dividing your budget 1,000 different ways. So it's really powerful for that case. And it can be used for B2B, B2C businesses, like whether you're a SaaS company and you're trying to do lead generation, or you're an e-commerce business. So if you're e-commerce, like I mentioned, it's replacing smart shopping. If you're a lead generation business, you're going to be able to optimize for your online and in-store goals. So your forms that you want, if there's different actions on your website that are more important than others, Pranav's going to talk about a way that you can optimize and structure your conversions so that you can make sure you're training the Performance Max machine learning to optimize for the right types of conversions. So it can really be used. We've used it effectively in B2B and B2C, and we've used it effectively in e-commerce and lead generation. So it's very powerful. It's a very versatile campaign type. And so let's look at those key benefits again and why you should really care about them. So the cross-network targeting, as I mentioned earlier, not only just makes your life easier, but there is a source here. Marketers using 3 or more channels in a campaign earned 494% higher order rate than those using a single channel campaign. So of course, this is one source, and this may vary from different sources and people doing the research surveys, but I've always seen this as a general rule. The more places that you can meet your customer in the customer journey, the bigger the impact you're going to have and the better the results. So that's why oftentimes we as an agency will do multiple platforms like doing Meta ads and Google ads. We want to target people and create some awareness about products and services that we're offering. We also want to target them when they're actively searching for those products, maybe further down in the customer journey. So having the ability to do this from a single campaign and reach them on 5 different channels really kind of amplifies the impact that you can have with your budget. Why else should you care? Machine learning and automation. So as I mentioned, things are happening so fast and the media landscape and the audience is so fragmented, it's really hard to make the right decisions on a consistent basis. So using machine learning models will help you predict which ads, audiences, and creative will perform best for you. So you no longer need to go and say, hey, let's pay this creative agency hundreds of thousands of dollars to come up with this creative concept that's going to be the big winner for us. You can test different headlines, descriptions, images, videos all at once and see what combinations are going to come out the best, then use that information to start making better creative. And so retail advertisers using Performance Max have an average 12% increase in conversion value at the same or better return on ad spend when upgrading from smart shopping. So it shows that when we give our control over the campaigns over to machine learning that exists inside Google, it's able to optimize better than we would have because it has more information and it can use that information at a quicker rate. So when I talk about return on ad spend, by the way, I'm talking about the revenue that you would make per how much money you're spending. So if you make $3,000 in revenue and you spend $1,000, then you have a 300% return on ad spend or a 3x return on ad spend. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So I wanted to just define it there. Performance Max also gives you some new insights. So asset reporting. So if you're adding a bunch of different assets in, and so when I say assets, I'm talking about images, videos, logos, etc. And you're going to see some additional information, rising search trends, how you can help understand the changes in performance and inform your broader business strategy. So what I mean by that is you're going to get some information on, Google's going to know based on the inputs that you put into the campaign, the different things that you're trying to target, and it's going to give you some insights. So this is an example for tents. Let's say that you're an atmosphere or a sport check or an MEC or something like that, and you've got a bunch of tents in your inventory and you're running these campaigns. If you get a signal like this that's telling you that interest for tents is trending compared to last week, you can quickly launch a tent campaign or maybe discount them or offer some sort of urgency, like limited time offer to try to clear tents out of your inventory. And these are some really cool insights that we're actually also seeing in like Google Analytics 4 just with the way that Google's injecting machine learning and AI into their tools. So pretty cool. And it's giving you kind of like predictive analytics that you can react to and respond to in real time. So a couple examples I wanted to share just to show how big of an impact this can have. And Pranav, who's joining us on the call today, is the one that had created these strategies for both of these clients. So mylens.ca, they're a client of ours. They are an eyewear retailer, similarly to like a competitor to like a clearly.ca. And so they saw a 155% increase in return on ad spend from February to December 2022, year over year. So this is not just like a flash in the pan increase. This was over the course of 11 months. So we saw a 155% increase. And the Google Ads revenue, so once they saw the increase, they were able to increase their budget and start to really push the limits of their Google Ads campaigns. And they saw an overall revenue increase of 788% overall. So massive changes to their business from kind of a early, like a startup, just kind of ticking along to creating a real business. And then CIFA Early Learning. So that was e-commerce client first, and now we're talking about lead gen. Performance Max was their top performing campaign since we implemented it in March 2022. So just about a year ago. Their average ROAS from Performance Max was 36% higher than the account average. So because we were able to get that higher return on ad spend, we're able to talk with the client and give them the confidence to raise their budgets and then increase the number of leads. So they've increased their lead count overall by 91%. And this is a big brand. They are franchising and building up franchises right across Canada. So they're able to use this as kind of a case study for adding more locations to their business. So it sounds like it's like this one little thing. It's one little campaign, Performance Max campaigns, but you can see the amplified effect that it can have on your other campaigns and then your business overall by using some of these tools. So it's pretty cool to see. So there are a couple of prerequisites. That's why we're kind of meeting today. This is something new. This is something that people aren't fully maybe familiar with at this point. So you're going to need to have some things in place before you start these campaigns. One is that you should definitely make sure that you're already running search ads. And not only just running them, but having them well optimized and working well for you. So Performance Max, or PMax for short, will have better results when it runs in tandem with search ads. So it pays attention to your search ads as one of the inputs or the ingredients into how it optimizes its machine learning. Pretty counterintuitive because it looks like an individual campaign in your account that you would control and it works by itself, but it actually leverages the learning across your account, across your other campaigns. So that's really important. You don't just start a Google Ads account and then say, hey, we're just doing Performance Max and that's it. You definitely want to run this in tandem. Okay, sorry. Someone asked a thing about changing layout. So anyway, can everyone see my screen clearly? Cool. Okay, I'll just keep going. So the other one is conversion tracking and values are properly set up. So this comes into Pranav's other specialty is really into measurement, ads measurement tracking. So on your website, you want to be tracking your purchase actions, all of the important actions that are happening on maybe it's a subscriber or an appointment booking or something on your site. Those need to be set up and tracked properly. It's using a tool called Google Tag Manager most of the time, and then you want to have values associated with those actions so that you can weight them in order of importance. So it's really important, and this will help your campaigns be much more successful. You also need a video. So this is something new. You don't need you traditionally only needed videos for YouTube campaigns and not for your display campaigns or your search campaigns. But because Performance Max runs across multiple networks, including YouTube, you do need to have a video asset for this. And finally, you need to have some budget flexibility. So these campaigns can over and underspend more substantially than your typical campaigns, sometimes twice as much. And we would recommend having a minimum budget of about $600 a month, $1,000 if you can, but that gives you a budget of about $20 a day. And so that you can give enough information to the machine learning so that Performance Max can optimize. So that's everything for me at the start of the prerequisites before getting started. And now, how do you structure the campaigns? Pranav's going to walk us through the Performance Max hierarchy.
Thanks, Warren. Yeah, so as we got some quick introduction about what exactly the Performance Max campaign, let's see how the overall structure works inside the Performance Max. So on the hierarchy level, like it works same as your all other regular campaigns where you have a campaign on a higher level. Let's say like I have given here one example. We want to create a campaign for our top products, which is shoes and we are targeting it in Canada. Then on the next level of our hierarchy, it would be your asset groups. So this is something new in the Performance Max campaign compared to our other campaigns. You might be like used to seeing like our ad groups in our other campaigns. So it works same, but little bit different idea. So asset group is basically the combination of your different types of creatives, which you would be combining in one asset group. So different themes or different products would have their separate asset groups, which is we highly recommend whenever you are creating the Performance Max campaign. Look at your website sections or look at your products, how they are categorized, and accordingly try to distinguish them into the different asset groups. So here in our example, if we are creating the campaign for shoes, maybe we would have like a couple of products, which is men formal shoes and women's sports shoes. So different audiences, they would have like a different ad angles. So we would create two different asset groups for them. Next on our hierarchy, it would be the audience signals and ads. So how it works. So audience signals is basically what you want to target. So here you would give the Google some kind of like an idea what your audiences looks like. What is my main formal shoes audience is. So here you would be giving them some more segments, more custom audiences, etc., which we would go in details, but consider audience signals as your targeting signals. And then it is your ads. Basically, ads is your different types of ad angles that you want to target. So they would be included your creatives, your different headlines, descriptions, maybe you would be testing different URLs, etc. So basically, this is the overall structure. Just a main difference you would need to consider is that the asset groups and the audience signals. So we would discuss that more in details. So this is like the overall hierarchy. Now, before jumping into the audience signals, let's see first what is the main difference between the asset groups and the ad groups, which we already know. So the asset groups, as we say, it is your collection of all the different creatives. So it would have your images, videos, headlines, long headlines, descriptions. Whereas in the ad groups, we used to have keywords and ads. So in the asset groups, you might see there are like a new extra creatives that they have added, especially your long headlines, short headlines, which we are not used to seeing in our responsive search ads. So more options to try different variations there. In terms of targeting, basically your asset group targeting would be based on the audience signals that you would be creating. Whereas in the ad groups, we often target based on the keywords. So that's also one of the major difference. Another is that like all the creatives that you would be providing in the asset groups, they would be mixed and matched by Google in order to create the best possible combination that works. So whenever that is the reason we always recommend you create separate asset groups for different audiences. So you don't want to combine your men's formal shoes with women's sports shoes creatives. Otherwise, it can combine those different mixtures. So it is important to keep your different audiences separate. And in the ad group, basically, comparably, you have more control over your ad combinations. Technically, you could, in the responsive search ads, you are giving 15 headlines and 4 descriptions. So it is still creating the different combinations. However, you can pin down some certain headlines and you can have like more control over there compared to your asset groups. Yeah, and the next is that when you are giving some bidding strategy, bidding values, so you won't able to target your ROAS or cost per acquisition on the asset group level, but it would be on the campaign level in the performance max. So that is, I think, one of the major drawback. But on the other campaigns, you could go granular, and for different ad groups, you could target like a different ROAS. So whenever you are creating like a performance max campaign, maybe you need to consider what is the average ROAS that you want to target for that particular shoes. Maybe you might have like a higher ROAS target for men shoes compared to the women shoes, but what is the median value that you would be interested to look at? So that is one of the main thing you need to remember.
Awesome. Yeah, Pranav, and just to kind of emphasize that, also CPA, when we say target CPA, that's cost per acquisition. So that would be for lead gen, if you're a lead gen business or you're a SaaS business and you're trying to get people to convert, maybe book an appointment with you. Maybe you have 2 different products, like an enterprise product and a beginner or like a light product. And you would probably have very different target cost per acquisitions for either of those. The enterprise one might be a lot higher because those customers are worth more. So here you would definitely want to use 2 different. Well, in this case, you can't adjust those within the same campaign. So you'd have to use 2 different campaigns, one for enterprise, one for maybe your light or your standard customers. So it's just like it's a little bit of a nuanced difference if you're the one that's in the account. If you don't touch Google Ads and you're a marketing director or business owner, this is more just information that's going to be important to your Google Ads specialist, but you can have a conversation with them and make sure that you guys are talking about the same thing, and also budgeting things accordingly, so you know how much budget to give to each. So
exactly, and that's a good point, Warren. I mean, definitely you would need to consider if your target ROAS is different, and then accordingly, either you could create like different asset groups, or you can simply create like a new campaign for that. So yeah. So here is one, just a quick example how the asset groups looks like on your Google Ads platform. So once you clicked on your Performance Max campaign and you clicked on the asset groups, you would see there all your asset groups marked there. So like in our previous example, we took like men formal shoes and women's sports shoes as our asset groups. Inside these asset groups, you would see there is different assets. That is your creatives, your headlines, descriptions, and all those combinations you would able to see there. As well as on the right-hand corner, you would see there is an audience signal, which is very important. This is what you would be creating, which like you would be building your audience signals over here. You would be adding different types of segments, and make sure look at how much best practices you are using. So there is like eligible 2 out of 2 best practices. That it means that you are using all necessary segments that Google recommends. Also, you could see on the upper corner, there is a preview ads, and there are like a different networks. So if you click on the YouTube logo, you would able to see how your ad looks on the YouTube, how it looks on the Gmail, on search, etc. So you can always see different previews and try to identify if it works with your brand identity. Now let's check our asset requirements. So now you know that like there are like a different assets are required, which is the combination of mainly the text, images, and videos. So here are a few some specifications that you need to remember. So for example, if you are creating long headlines, you need to make sure that your long headlines character limit is 90. as well as same goes for your images. So you need to see what are the recommended sizes. Usually we recommend to use the images sizes that works best on all different devices and screens, which is usually for the landscape, it is 1200 into 628, and for the square, it's 1200 into 1200, and so on. So all these specifications we have mentioned, which works best. As well as on the right-hand corner, you would see that there are like a minimum and maximum columns. So minimum is the minimum number of quantity that you would be required of that asset. So for certain things, you would be able to create without like a long headline. And what is the maximum number that you can add for that particular asset? Even though you can exclude few of those long headlines and you can create your assets, we highly recommend you use the numbers which we are mentioning. So for example, long headlines, even if you don't need them basically to create your asset, still we recommend to use at least 3 long headlines. Similarly, landscape and square images, you can create just like one out of each and create the asset. Yet still, it would be better if you could use all those 20 slots. Why? Because when you are giving like these maximum number of combinations from the very beginning, Google will able to create these different combinations, and it will start to optimize very quickly. And you would able to see like these all different combinations that work best. And based on that, like you would able to see which is also not working. And then you would start replacing them instead of removing them. So if you see something is not working, just like replace it with the new headline and so on. So that is why we recommend start from the very beginning with like maximum number, which we recommend.
Awesome. And just to add there, because I know Catherine did ask, she was wondering what the ideal video length would be. So it's really just over 10 seconds. You could experiment with 15, with 30 seconds, etc. But as long as it's over 10 seconds, that's the minimum that's required here. And then I think to the other point that Pranav was saying is just that think of these as like ingredients. And we want to make sure that we've got enough information that's going into the machine learning algorithm so that Google can figure out the best asset combinations. So even though there's some minimums, there's some maximums, we're definitely erring to the side of these maximums because it's going to give more information to Google and they're going to be able to optimize your ads more effectively. So.
Yeah. Audience signals.
Oops, sorry. Let me, there you go.
So yeah, like we were discussing about the audience signals, that is, you are giving the Google information what your audience looks like, but what this audience signal is made up of. So it is consist of like similar to your assets, like it has custom segments, your data, that is the customer match list that you would manually upload it to the Google, or your remarketing list and your first party data. Similarly, there would be interest and detailed demographics, that is your affinity audiences, and then there our demographics. So in these all 4 segments, you might be already using it on other your campaigns, specifically on the display campaigns. So custom segments, for example, what is custom segment consist of? So there you in the specifications, you would see that you could build different types of list, which is people with specific interest, or people who are searching some specific terms, or people who browse some different types of websites. So here is the trick. I mean, when you are creating the Performance Max campaign, you don't have flexibility to target based on the keywords. However, this is the place where you could do that. So for example, let's say I want to target users, parents basically, who are interested into the daycare. In those cases, I might not have like my keyword targeting in the Performance Max. However, in my search campaigns, I might already been using some keywords related to the daycare that I know have worked very well in the past. So you could create the audience based on search terms, and then search terms that people have often used, and then just copy paste all those search terms into your that audiences. Similarly, you could create other audiences, which is people who browse different types of websites. So again, like taking the daycare example, if parents are looking for daycare, they might be visiting some websites related to the daycare or like early childcare education. So try to identify such similar websites and build, add those segments over here. Similarly, your data, like your remarketing audiences, maybe you would have like already created your remarketing audiences in your Google Analytics, which is visiting your website's particular sections or which got converted in the past. So import those audiences over here, as well as if you have your CRM where you get your leads, you could always link your CRM, especially like a Salesforce. It has very easy links to link with your Google Ads. So when you link those your CRM with your Google Ads, Google starts to build these audiences. Similarly, the interest and detailed demographics. So in-market audiences, for example. So people who are actively looking for daycare or people who are actively buying some baby products. Maybe I would add such audiences into my detailed audiences. And again, you could go for the granular in the demographic sections, and you could target some specific age group or people who have some parental status or like some household income and so on. So here, same as like our last slide, here we would have like a minimum list that you could create as well as like a recommended list. So Google recommends that you should have at least one custom segment and one your remarketing segment. So you would have like a 2 out of 2 as your best practices. But as we have seen, like when you add like a more recommended list, as we have mentioned, it will build your Google signals very quickly. So in the right-hand corner, you will see the minimum inputs. So what is that minimum input? So for example, if you are building the audiences for the search terms, so maybe try to identify 10 to 25 search terms that are related to that particular your product or services that you are interested in. Similarly, if you are uploading some your first-party audiences, try to build that audience, at least have like a minimum 100 users and so on. So these are like, this is the very key feature of Performance Max. Like more data you provide here in your audience signals, it better works for you.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's I would say it's counterintuitive because in the past you would kind of separate these out, maybe in different. You would be looking at these in isolation. Okay, what if we target these keywords with our search campaigns? What if we target these websites, people that visited these websites with our display campaigns, and so on and so forth. And so now, or how about we do remarketing ads? We do them separately. So now we're putting everything together, and then Google's taking all of that information, and then they are building. They're going to be targeting people at the right moment, at the right place, with the right message. So it's very interesting. It's a counterintuitive as a marketer to kind of set things up this way, but it definitely works, and we've seen that across a lot of our different campaigns. So to that point, I'm going to share about some of the controls that you have. So Performance Max can do some amazing things, but there's definitely some drawbacks, and so it's not perfect by any means. Even though we've seen some great performance. So you do have some controls that you previously had with your Google search campaigns, and then you're missing some others as well. So what do you have? You've got the same, a lot of the same controls around budget, so how much your daily budget is, what bidding strategy you want to use, whether it's target CPA or maximize conversion value, what locations or language you want to target, when you want to schedule your ads. So if you don't want them to run on Saturdays and Sundays, you can still set that up, and what URLs they're going to. So it's not just going to pick any URL on your website. You can always adjust that and change those URLs. And then all of the asset groups, audience signals, and ad extensions that Pranav has been talking about. And when I say ad extensions, I mean things like site links, call extension, that kind of stuff, or location extension. What you don't have control over is the keyword targeting and bidding in the way that you would with a search campaign, where you're putting a list of keywords, you're seeing the data on those keywords, and then you're adjusting each keyword, maybe bidding them up or down or pausing some and that kind of stuff. Instead, you're going to see it kind of as an aggregate. Same thing as campaign level negative keywords. So I think that this is maybe a big challenge with a lot of advertisers is the negative keywords. You have to set them at the account level that would go over your whole account. And so you don't have that granularity of being able to exclude certain negatives. I will say that Google's gotten much better at knowing what type of keywords that it wants to be showing your ads for. So it's called broad match. The broad match campaigns have gotten a lot smarter than they used to be. But still, you might have some keywords that you want to exclude from one campaign or another, and you don't have full control over that. I will say, at least at a self-service level, you can go through a lengthy process of talking to a Google rep and then putting in some requests and filling out forms. But it's really not too conducive to being an effective way to manage your campaigns. And then same thing goes for negative placements in keyword and networks. So you can't say, oh, we don't want to run our ads on Gmail. We'll just run them on Google, on the Google search, display, and YouTube. You can't do that right now. So you can't exclude placements and negatives for your Performance Max campaigns in isolation. So a couple drawbacks. The other thing is that sometimes Performance Max is kind of seen as a bit of a black box, right? So you used to have control over all of these individual things that you would be setting up in your campaigns. Now we're putting in all of these ingredients. We're kind of, well, I shouldn't say hoping, but we're expecting the machine learning to figure it out and find the best combinations for us. So as a result, we have less control. We have less control over the bids and the placements. We have less control over our reporting metrics. We don't see the reporting metrics keyword by keyword and by assets. We do get some insights from them. So they're going to tell us how different audience signals are performing and different assets. But it's more of this kind of generalized reporting signals versus where you'd see specific metrics in the past, like this asset got this many clicks, this asset got this many clicks, etc. So you'll also have some potentially unwanted targeting. So certain placements and keywords that maybe like maybe your brand name and whatnot, that if you wanted to exclude those from the campaigns, again, you can't do it in the self-service way that you used to be able to do, or that you can do in a lot of the other campaigns. And these campaigns also do have a tendency to overspend your daily budget by like 2 times. So you need to have a bit more of a flexible budget. If you're working with a really tight budget or really small budgets, you're going to have challenges with Performance Max. And optimization isn't quite as clear. So I'll say that the process is different, right? So whatever you advertisers were used to doing for optimization has changed a little bit. So if we're going to use these, we kind of have to adapt to the new way that Google recommends we optimize them, and like Pranav is going to share in a little bit. But as a result, this becomes a challenge, especially if you're used to having a lot of control over your account. Like a lot of advertisers and marketers have. So that being said, there are some tricks and some ways to optimize your account. So Pranav's going to take us through those and what he's been using to really help get these campaigns to be performing at their best.
Thanks, Warren. So yeah, like as Warren has discussed, like Performance Max campaign, it is very confusing. Sometimes we do not see enough data, and often as a marketers, we try to identify where we can optimize. That being said, but is it really, like a black box? Let's say like last weekend, I wanted to create my butter chicken pizza. So I looked in my pantry, I found some ingredients. I tried to cook butter chicken pizza, and that's what I made. I don't think it's a butter chicken pizza that I wanted to create. So next day, I went to the shopper store and I bought the necessary ingredients. I made sure my recipe is correct, and I created my butter chicken pizza very next day. By the way, I'm a very good cook. If you want to know my secret recipe, just drop me a message later. So what's the point here? there are like whenever we are thinking about like performance max campaigns, consider is at like your ingredients. You need to have like a proper ingredients in order to get like the better result. So it is not like a fully self-automated campaign as often people think it. Like, yeah, it's a like a smart campaign, and like we would just like create like different assets and that's it. But no, it more depends on what inputs you are giving to this campaign. So better inputs, you will get like the better results. So that is why like we always recommend you, whenever you start your campaign, provide as many as possible combinations, audience signals, or any possible data, whichever you can. So let's see some few optimization strategies that can work for you, which are like considered as like some of the best practices by Google. So first is your structuring the asset groups. So as we mentioned earlier, before jumping in creating your performance max campaign, always try to identify the correct themes. So look at your website, look at how there are like a different structures, look at your products and their themes, and accordingly create your asset groups. Provide your detailed audience signals. So maybe you would have seen that like we are repeating this quite often, that you need to provide these audience signals. So which is very, very important. Next, you need to analyze your insight reports regularly. So often people think that like, yeah, we provide like enough audience signals and then like we create multiple combinations, that's it, and then Google will take care of it. However, you need to also look at your these insight reports that Warren has discussed, like which is like about Google will always show you like what is the current trends going on, or like what are the particular search terms that are getting more clicks or like getting conversions. So Google is a little bit tricky over here. They are not giving you like the complete data over which particular asset group has worked for you, but rather it just gives you the overview that, hey, like daycare in Calgary has given you like in the last few days, like there are like 10 leads coming up from there. You can take that search term from the Performance Max campaign and then add it in your search campaigns, where it will be optimized further for targeting that particular keyword. So you could use those insights to complement your other campaigns. So it is very important you check your reports quite regularly. Also audit your assets regularly. So whenever you create like those 20 combinations, check which assets are working best, which have the poor rating, and try to replace them, as well as try to do regular A/B testings for different ad angles, which you would be surprised how well it works. Also use the customer match list and conversion value rules. So this is something new, customer match list, which is whenever you want to upload your first party data, as well as you could also use in combination with your conversion value rules. So that is whenever you have some particular conversion which is very important for you, you could give more value to it. Similarly, you could go granular on it. For example, you would have like a lead form submissions as your conversions, but let's say like lead form conversions coming from the West Vancouver are more important for me, and they give like a more value for my business. Then you could go further granular, and like you could add like a conversion value rule saying that, hey, whenever you get like a conversion from the West Vancouver, give it like the higher value. Google will understand it and to try to optimize for audiences from that particular region or from that particular audience targeting. Also, exclude your poor performing landing pages. So this is also very important, but sometimes we often ignore that. As you know, like Performance Max campaign can use your website's different landing pages to test them. So sometimes there could be some irrelevant pages, such as your maybe contact page or like your terms and conditions pages, and you don't want them as your landing pages. So often always try to audit where your Performance Max campaign is showing and try to exclude them from your targeting list. So these are some best practices we highly recommend you.
Yeah, and just one thing to add, Pranav, is conversion values. For anyone that saw that and thought, "What the heck is a conversion value?" We did do a previous workshop on using a funnel calculator and calculating your entire funnel. So if you do want to check it out, we'll do that workshop again eventually. But it's also on our YouTube. If you just YouTube Ollo metrics and then look for a funnel calculator or connect the dots in your funnel. But really, it's telling Google, hey, this action, let's say it is a lead form or an appointment booking, is much more valuable than someone that just signs up for a newsletter. And you need to use those values to give more information to Google so that it knows to optimize for the right types of conversions on your website. Or else you could be running the campaigns, you're getting tons of conversions, but they're all the wrong type. And so just to kind of illustrate the importance of you need to tell not only yourself what's important, but you need to tell Google what's important on your website. And that's how you do it.
Awesome. Yeah, so some more optimization tips. So these are like some advanced tips. So like, as Warren has mentioned earlier, Performance Max campaign is notorious that it will often spend more than what is your daily budget is. Usually it's almost 2 times. So in order to avoid the overspend, we have created these your auto pause campaign script. Basically, whenever you could use this script, like you could set your monthly budget in this script, and this script will auto pause your campaign as soon as it sees that like your campaign budget has reached. So you don't need to every day go and monitor it. So how to use that, we have shared the tutorial with you. Feel free to look into it and feel free to message us if you have any questions. As well as I would recommend using the enhanced conversions for your whenever to optimize your Google signals. So what is enhanced conversions? Basically, whenever someone is submitting the lead forms or completing the purchase, they are giving some first-party data to the Google, or such as like their email, their name, phone number, etc. So with the enhanced conversions, Google will encrypt that data and try to create the Google signal. That is, it will try to build the audiences, similar lookalike audiences based on the ones which are converted, as well as it will give the better credit to your Google Ads if there are multiple touch points and on your campaign. So again, we highly recommend you set this up for your campaigns, and we have our blog about how to set it up and how to use that. Feel free to refer it if you have any, if you want to know more about that. So yeah, these are couple of tips I would recommend.
Thanks, Pranav. And for anyone that's looking at this script and going, what the heck? How do I do that? If you're a business owner or if you're like a marketing manager or director and you're not actively in your Google Ads account on a regular basis, scripts are probably pretty advanced. But Pranav, with the little tutorial he put together here, I think if you give this over to your Google Ads manager or specialist, then they can use this. It only works on Performance Max campaigns. And fun fact, Pranav actually developed that script through Google's API because that didn't exist anywhere else. So it's very likely that if you are running Performance Max campaigns, you don't have this ability to pause your campaigns once you hit your monthly budget. So anyway, it's something we thought we'd share. It could be helpful for some of the more advanced users or people that like really have a really tight budget. They're like, hey, we can only spend $2,000 this month, and then it has to stop. Because you can get pretty nervous when your campaigns are spending twice as much on a given day. So I will say that we've gone through a lot of information. If you do have any questions about this and you want to talk to me further, just drop me a message in the chat. Just to say, your first name, the company you work for, your email. I'd be happy to connect. You can also email me, warren@ollometrics.com, if that works best. But yeah, we can hop on a quick 30-minute call. I can help point you in the right direction, even if it's working with us or if it's working with your own team on how to use this. I'd be happy to chat and help point you in the right direction. So I just want to put that out there now, because I know that a lot of this stuff is it's changing quickly and it is quite confusing. So we can definitely help. Okay, and now, so Pranav's going to do a little demo for us on how to create a video. I'm going to stop sharing, and we said we'd do this. So if you don't have any video assets, or if you want to create new video assets so that you can test them against the current videos you have, maybe the current videos you have are 5 years old and they're a little dusty and you want to see if you've got some, you can create something better to outperform it. Google has these really amazing video assets that you can create very quickly in the account. So I'll stop sharing and Pranav can show us a little demo on how to do that.
Awesome. Thank you, Warren. Yeah, let me share my window here. Awesome. So yeah, like as you know, like in the Google Ads for the Performance Max, you need to provide some assets along video assets. And if you do not have it readily available, you can use your existing images and text in order to create your video assets. So Google has its inbuilt template gallery, which you can use, which is very easy to use. So let's see, like once you go on the tools and settings, then click on the assets library, and it will open your asset library where you use like you will see your all existing assets. Click on the plus and click on the video, create video. It will open this template gallery of videos. So you will see there are like a different templates, which is targeting different ad angles, as well as if you are like an e-com services, then maybe you would be interested in something like related to the products. If you are lead gen, then you could see something related to the brands and so on. So yeah, like try to identify the template that resonates with your product or the campaign. In this, you would also see on the right-hand corner here what is the duration of that video. We recommend around like a 15-second videos rather than going for 6 one. So you could see these templates. As well as before using any template, try to identify what is its requirement. So here you would see that what this template is using. So it is using 3 images, 1 logo, and 7 text areas. So in order to use this template, you would need to have these readily available. So if you don't, try to identify the combinations where you could easily make it. So let's take an example of our Performance Max campaign workshop, and we want to create some message about it, like and reach to our audiences. And I don't have like any image available, just like some text. Maybe I can then identify something where I don't need any images. So something like this, like a present your message, 0 images, 1 logo, 7 text areas. Very easy. Let's try to use this. Once you click on that, it will open the video editor. So here you would need to provide on each slides whatever the required information is, sometimes text, sometimes images, and so on. On the right-hand corner, you will see some editing options. So you could change the background of your slides. So if you want to use, you could use your brand's color. If you don't know like exact code, try to check with your graphic designer what is exactly the hex number. Or you can simply use this color picker, and choose the color. So I will just quickly add our Ollo's color, which I know is 0T3T. So yeah, like it's some blue. And then like here, you could see there's some fonts. You don't have many options here. So maybe I would recommend keep it standard, use the basic ones, and then font weight. You can again experiment with different font sizes, see which works best for your ad, and then the music. So here, all the videos of you would have like some background instrumental music. Here they have like these default library. You could check, just like you can play the video or play the audio, and then you would able to listen how that audio sounds. So maybe we would just like select that as it is, and let's try to add some text over here. So maybe Google Ads Performance Max. So you would need to also remember that the character limit for each of your text whenever you are creating it. Once you add that, like you would be able to see it, click on the next, then it will again, if it's like about the images, it will always tell you what recommended sizes is. So here it required 1000 by 500. So I will quickly grab that logo, which is I have. So yeah, so basically the idea is same. You just need to go through each slides and kind of like create all these slides. And then once you've done that, simply click on the preview video, review it, and then it will upload it. So pretty simple. Once you upload that, it should be available in your asset library. We had created that, so I would just like quickly show you how it looks like in your asset library. Go in your asset library, in the filter, just like try to identify asset type by YouTube video. And here it is, which is we just created.
Pretty cool.
So yeah, I mean, that's pretty it, like very simple. You don't need a lot of resources in order to create the videos. You could just simply use the existing one and you can play around with different those assets, templates, and create your own quick video. So yeah, that's the demo part, and I will pass on to the Warren for next part.
Awesome. Thanks, Pranav. So I don't know if there's anyone sitting here going, oh my gosh, that's so easy. Because the first time I saw that, I was like, mind blown. I just know from a long history of having to create videos as a marketing director and marketing manager, that it was always quite hard, right? You'd have to pay someone, you'd have to come up with a storyboard and all that stuff. Now you can do this by yourself, or you can at least mock up a couple of videos to get like a concept that's usable. And then you can also, you can expand on that if needed, but you can really create quick videos for, like, for example, we created that video for this workshop without a whole lot of resources. And you can also upload your really professional ones as well if needed. So yeah, it's a very powerful tool. I was really impressed when Google came out with that. So I'm also going to share a couple, just to remind everyone, the free resource. So the budget management script, we've already shared it, but just in case you got the link, everyone's going to get the slides as well. And so if you want to reference a lot of those sizes or the different recommended asset groups, and then you can, the different audience signals, then you can reference those for when you are putting together a campaign. I also wanted to let everyone know of our next workshop. So we do these usually on the third Wednesday of every single month, but next month we're going to change it. It's going to be on a Tuesday, so April 18th. And we're going to do an SEO workshop on how to beat your competitors in Google search results. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. We're going to teach you some tips on how you can really see under the hood of your competitors' strategies, and then use that information to beat them in the search results and get a higher position in Google. That's what everyone wants. And I think every single business owner or boss would love to see that. And I'd say, like, we use this with a lot of our clients, but I used these techniques back in the day when I was working as a marketing director at a company called Kintech. And it was one of the most successful things that we had done ever in marketing. And so it really changed, it kind of shifted the whole strategy and started to get us thinking about digital in a much more serious way. So I think it should be a really exciting one. It's with Lauren, our SEO and content specialist, and myself. And so We really love getting feedback on these workshops. We come here every month, and we're always thinking of new topics and ways that we can make these better for everyone. So if you did enjoy it, or if you have some critical feedback for us, we'd love it either way. We've got a survey form here for you, so we really appreciate that. We use this information, like I said, to find new topics. So if you have a topic that you're like, hey, I'm really having a hard time with X or something with your own marketing strategy, guess what? That might be a really good topic for us to talk about that might apply to a lot of other marketers. Oops, sorry, my Apple mouse goes a little crazy sometimes. So that's everything. I just want to thank everyone for coming. And you know what? If you're here and you want to hop on and just ask a couple questions, we'll do that right now. And then if not, you can always reach out to me after and drop me an email. But is there anyone here that has any questions they want to kind of ask Pranav and myself just while we're hanging out? Yes, United Way, Greater Victoria.
Hello, Warren. This is Avik.
Hey. How are you doing?
So yeah, I just wanted to ask. Thank you for the session, by the way. It's always, as always, very helpful. So as you know, like things are changing really, really fast, and everybody's kind of using a lot of these like AI-generated search. I've been using Bing search for a lot of things now. So a lot of the campaigns that you focus on is specifically on Google. I'm wondering, is there any specific thing that we kind of have to do to optimize for Bing? And more importantly, since like these new search, how we search with these like almost chat-like searches, the sources are baked in, and these are I see are like ads, and I'm not sure how in the future we're going to have ads on those prompts and everything. But is there a way we can optimize for that, or think about optimizing for that?
It's a great question. I'll let maybe Pranav take it at the top, and then I'll see if I can add anything.
Yeah. Thanks, Warren. Yeah, that's a great question. I think for like as we have seen like this evolution with like a chat GPT coming up, so definitely like when we would be looking into the Bing ads, Bing also had added few new features similar to the Performance Max campaign. I would highly recommend like whenever we would be like we used to like just like import like the Google Ads campaigns into the Bing, but now again the platform is changing so quickly. You would need to treat it as a separate platform rather than like whatever works on the Google may not work on your Bing Microsoft. So you would have to use what is that native platform is currently providing. So that's something I highly recommend, that like they have like currently added like a new placement and new keyword strategy as well as new campaign structures. So we would need to deep dive into that and treat it as a separate rather than going considering what works as Google might not work on the Bing.
Vic, also like this also has implications for SEO as well. Like just the fact that search behavior doesn't have to be done in the search engine anymore. It can be done through a chat. Like we don't fully know where this is going to go and how much it's going to change everything, but I do know it's going to be big. Luckily for us, as an agency, we work with both platforms. We work with Microsoft Ads. We work with Google Ads. Google still has a massive part of the majority of the search share. So, and Google's, even though they had a relatively unsuccessful quick launch of Bard, they are definitely leaders in AI, and they're going to be coming up with their own competitive products. So, but it's going to be a wild year. Like last year, we thought was wild, and this year it's going to be even crazier. So, we're going to be paying attention. And actually, once we start to see some really repeatable strategies coming out of like using ChatGPT and using other tools like that, I think that'd be a great workshop for us to have.
Right. I had one other query in regards to, let's say, if someone is to start a new online business, so let's say it could be clothing for any item or anything like that, would you recommend them to go towards Performance Max, or would you rather recommend them to stick to like the traditional like keywords and other stuff to stabilize on that ground? Because Performance Max seems like it's an all-rounded thing, but the budget seems a bit high. So what would be your recommendation on that?
Yeah. I would like if it's like a e-shop, like a shopping business, and if it's like they have like a online, like where people could buy on their website, then definitely they can start from very beginning with the Performance Max campaign. However, they would need to keep attention to few things. That is, if before jumping into the setting up the campaign, if their conversion tracking is set up properly or not. Second, whenever you would be creating the Performance Max campaign, along with that, like always create your search campaign and allocate more budget initially to the search campaign compared to the Performance Max, as well as like you would also need to look into your bidding strategy. To start with, you would have to use the maximize conversions until you see at least 30 conversions within in 1 month or so period of time. Once you receive like a 30 conversions, you could move forward towards maximize conversion values. So you need to give some time to the Google to build those Google signals. So, but definitely you can always start with the Performance Max from very beginning. However, you would need to use different strategies.
Okay.
Yeah, like the other piece of that is, having your merchant center, your product feed really accurate. Also having the SEO of all of your product pages well optimized. So it'd probably be better to start with even less products as a starting point, because you're not necessarily bidding. It's similar to smart shopping and shopping campaigns. You're not bidding on necessarily the keywords, but it's just going to pull information from the page and from the audience signals. So yeah, it's as Pranav kind of said, it's going to be a little bit more of a black box. If you start with search campaigns, you know what keywords are working in search first. It definitely gives you a leg up. So
okay, all right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks for the questions. That's great. So we'll wrap it up there, unless I see any other questions in chat. I don't. Okay, sorry, Catherine, $200 to $400 at the moment. Great question. Honestly, I'd probably stick with search if you only get $200 to $400, like $10 a day, and maybe search in like responsive display. I think you need to commit to a bigger budget if you want to see consistent results from Performance Max, or you probably wouldn't see results quick enough, and then you'd be like, okay, it doesn't work, and then turn it off and then not give it a fair shot. So yeah. So cool. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks both of you for the questions, and everyone else who joined. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we really are big fans of Performance Max campaigns overall, and we hope to see you guys on the next workshop. So it'll be a lot of fun. So thanks to everyone who came, and thank you, Pranav.
Thank you, everyone, and thanks, Warren, and enjoy your rest of the day.
All right, see you guys.
See you.